of all, thank you so much, sir, for giving me your time. I've been following your work for the past 2, 3 weeks, and I'm honestly honored to be talking to you right now. Okay, so the first question I wanted to ask you, sir. So you've been on the inside of Indian cricket for decades now, and from managing India's first tour in South Africa in 1992 to being the CEO of Delhi Daredevils in the first few seasons of the IPL. So if you had to sum up your career in one line, what would it be?
Well, I've been lucky, and this was not meant to be. I was not meant to be in sports or in professional cricket management and things. It happened by chance, but it's been a great journey, and I've enjoyed every moment of it.
Okay. What do you mean it happened by chance, sir?
Listen, I was a normal government officer doing a normal government job,
Oh,
and I got in touch with Mr. Madharav Sindhya, who's my minister, and he made me in charge of all sports and Indian Railways,
oh,
which gave me a place in the BCCI.
okay.
Okay, as one of the representatives, one of the associations affiliated to the BCCI. So suddenly I was in the BCCI as a member, and that really started the journey. And it's been a long, long road since then. So it was not meant to be. I was doing a normal job as a government officer. Suddenly I was given this responsibility of running sports, which gave me a position in the BCCI, and that's how it started.
Yeah. So I want to quickly to ask you about the 1992 South Africa tour. So that was your first ever tour and working with the Indian cricket, you would say?
No, no, I'd already been working in the board for about 3, 4 years before that.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, but that was my first assignment as a manager.
Okay.
But I was part of the BCCI for some time, and I knew how it worked and how, what the BCCI did. And at that time, Mr. Sindhya was the board president, so I was helping him with his office. So I was deeply into the running of the BCCI about 2, 3 years before '92.
Oh, so I just wanted to ask you from that tour, what did you learn about the role of business or diplomacy in sports?
Listen, it wasn't so much business at that time,
Okay.
though that was just before that. We did the first ever television deal in India. Before that, the television or the media rights were not sold. But when the South African team came in '91, uh, for the first time, we sold the rights for the uh, 4 one-day games that were held in India. So suddenly we realized that this is a source of revenue. And now you understand how much the media rights for each game go. So but when we started, it was a very minor amount. But the fact that we owned a product which had a value, we got to know in about 1991. So that was like an eye opener. कि यहाँ से भी you can get पैसा, not only sponsorship and other things, but this is television rights, the media rights uh, are valuable. But more than the business, it was the diplomacy side, as you mentioned, because in those days, South Africa was a country not recognized by India. Our passports were not valid for South Africa. We had no contact with the country. We didn't know anything about cricket. So it was like going into the dark where nobody knew anything about cricket. No idea about players, venues, grounds, pitches, stadiums, and no idea about the country either because nobody had been there. So it was a totally new and very sort of challenging job. There was no presence of the Indian government there. We did not recognize the government. Mr. Mandela had just been released from jail. So those are politically very sort of charged situation. But so it was a challenge going there, not knowing anything, trying to navigate your way through a long tour when there was so much political turbulence going on and cricket on the other side. So yeah, very interesting and challenging.
That's great. I'm happy to hear about your side of the things. I have more, and this more than what I've read about, obviously, online. So next, I wanted to ask you about your involvement in the organizing committee during the 1996 World Cup in India.
Yeah, yeah.
So, how did you realize in that tournament, and what changes came in the way cricket was marketed and monetized in India?
Yeah, because again, even at that time, the business of cricket and the monies involved were minor,
Yeah.
and but it was growing. And again, it was a challenge to sell the media rights for the for something as big as the World Cup. And firstly, we didn't have any buyers, then we didn't have the right price. And in any business, any sports business, the selling media rights is the basic, you know, source from where you get money, because that's what the money is. Everything else, whether it's ticketing or sponsorship or licensing or hospitality, these are minor compared to the media rights, which form a large chunk of your income. So it was a challenge at that time to sell the World Cup television rights. Ultimately, I think we did a deal of about $10 million for the whole event after a lot of trouble. So again, but we are learning. You know, this is how we need to uh, get buyers interested. This is the kind of production required to deliver the visuals of the World Cup in a certain manner. Then we had sponsorships, and so it was learning. But the commercial side of cricket was still very basic, even in '96. Very basic.
So, what about domestically within India? What changes did you see after the World Cup in the popularity of cricket or the way cricket was being monetized
See, the
domestically?
thing is, cricket is always popular. Whenever we had matches in India, they were sold out. There were packed stadiums. There were, enough fans wanting to support it. So popularity was never a question. In
Yeah.
fact, popularity was given. वो तो है ही.
Mhm.
Now, the commercial growth is linked, uh, firstly, to the fan base, which we had. It's also linked to the rest of the economy. If the economy is, growing, if the markets are bigger, the corporates, who are sort of becoming stronger, then obviously that has a direct effect on the sponsorship and the monies that the sport can raise. So from mid '90s, etc., it started changing. The numbers kept going up. You had sponsorship of the Indian team. The television rights became slightly, more easy to sell and more competition to acquire it, which raised prices. So it was a gradual sort of rise in terms of the commercial strength of Indian cricket. But let me take you back. The big trigger for all this was obviously the 1983 World Cup when we won. So that also coincided with color television.
Yeah.
So you had color television on one side, which increased viewership. You had live coverage, and suddenly you had a team which won the World Cup. So the interest increased, dramatically, and the corporates willing to sponsor and get more room attached to cricket. So it was gradual, but that was a trigger. 83, it has to be the commercial growth has to be seen pre 83 and post 83. It was a big change because suddenly with Kapil Dev and the team winning the World Cup, the interest was sky high, and that also translated into more commercial, success. After that, it was gradual.
Okay, got it. So you would say 83 was the big trigger, and after that,
Yeah,
the growth really skyrocketed.
yeah, yeah. So there are different phases. From time to time, there's a big leap. So it carried on till that. Then I think beginning of the century around 200, etc. Then we again the team was doing well, and we reached the final of the World Cup in 2003. And then there was NatWest before that in 2002, and there was a big tour to Pakistan in 2004. Before that, India did well in Australia. So as the media industry grew and the economy grew and the Indian team did well, all these things combined gave cricket a big push commercially. Then obviously the game changing the next step was 2008 in the IPL.
Okay.
Yeah.
One more thing I would like to ask you about your involvement in the BCCI. So, if you don't mind me asking, as GM of the BCCI, you were closely involved in the boardroom, right? So, what's
Yeah.
one boardroom decision that showed you how important, how business drives this sport?
Mm, I think uh, I think some decisions came before me. Again, let me take you back. It started with, I think, the mid late 80s when it was established by strong efforts of the BCCI that they owned the right to the images produced by television or the media for matches. Because there was a debate who owns those rights? Does the BCCI own it? Does the state own it? Does it belong to the people? So the court ruled that this is a thing of value and it is owned by the BCCI, which meant that whenever there's a match, the BCCI can go into the market and sell it. Because if you have a product and you own the product, then it's you are free to go and sell it to whoever. Now, two important things were established. A, the BCCI owned it. And secondly, the BCCI could go and sell it in the market and not necessarily sell it to Doordarshan. Okay, so obviously Doordarshan will give you a lower value. Or if you are going into the competitive market and offering it to anybody, then the competition itself will give you the best value.
That's right.
So I think those were, if you look at it, very key decisions which the board took, which were validated by the court, that you own it and you are free to go and sell it anywhere, not necessarily to do Russian. After that, it's been gradual. But the other game-changing moment was the IPL
IPL.
because
So,
you're offering an absolutely new product uh, to the consumers. Before that, the product was the same. You could play a 20-hour game. You could be doing a 50-hour game. You're a test match, and those were valuable properties which you went to the market, you derived best value, and you carried on your business. Now with the IPL, you're offering a new product, so that appealed to people. That was considered of greater value, and suddenly the amounts of money which you received through a competitive market situation has altered not only cricket but all sport now. That if you can create a product which appeals to people, which is designed in a certain manner to connect with viewers. Now, the thing is, now cricket has gone beyond a fan who's on the ground to people sitting at home. Okay, everybody is a consumer now. Whether it's children at home, whether it's ladies at home. Earlier, it was funded by people going to the stadium buying a ticket initially, but now it's for everybody. So that's what television and cricket have done together, which was going on for a time, but just blew up in an explosive manner with the IPL.
the IPL. Okay.
Yeah.
So, you could say after 83, IPL was the big trigger that led to where we are today.
Yes, in terms of just raising the stakes, raising the numbers.
Mhm.
Also, don't forget again to come back to the point I made earlier. The economy and the Indian nation was different in 2008 compared to 83 or even 92 or 96 the World Cup. So it's all linked. It's not cricket is growing on its own. You are interlinked financially. Cricket as an industry is linked to the media industry. It's linked to entertainment with the IPL. It is linked to, in a way, fashion because of the products you are promoting. So it is a very interconnected economic situation. So you're not a standalone, cricket in the market. It's linked to everything else.
Okay, I got it. So I want to quickly ask you more about the IPL, and this is something that seemed very fascinating to me. So I'm very excited to hear what you say about this. So I wanted to ask, when you became CEO of Delhi Daredevils in the early years of the IPL, so what was harder, building a great team or building a sustainable business model?
Listen, it is not difficult to make a team because you knew who the players were. You had some idea about not really about T20 cricket, but you knew who was playing limited overs cricket because there's very little T20 cricket at the time. So, but still, you knew players, you knew cricket. So that was not so tough.
Okay.
And you had a wide choice because you have so many players to choose from. So depending on whom you fancied, whom you considered good, the cricket experts could, make a squad. The difficult part was the business because cricket had never been a business in private hands ever. It was not market driven. The BCCI are not really market driven. They have a product which they sell and it's fine. But suddenly, your investments are huge. You want returns. It's like any other business. It's just cricket sports related business. You're selling whatever in the market. Suddenly, you're selling cricket. So we really didn't know how to price it. For instance, to give you a very basic thing, we didn't know how to price a ticket. One day ticket might sell for the lowest denomination would be 500. So is 500 the right amount for the IPL? We didn't know. We had those various low properties on the uniform, the jerseys which we sell. Now, nobody had a clue. Is it 5 crores, 10 crores, 14? There's no precedent. There's no previous number. And so that was a challenge. That of trying to find the right value for what you're trying to do. And secondly, there's no past learning. So you found your way. You tried something, you failed, you maybe something you did right. So that was the challenge. And more important, see, IPL is not just team performance, it's not just what you are doing in terms of selling tickets and raising money for the team. Ultimately, the IPL key is the brand, the team, the value of the brand. Now, what do you do while you're running the IPL and playing 14 matches in a season? How do you enhance your brand? How do you make it more attractive? How do you make it more popular? How do you connect with fans? How do you create a better image for the brand and loyalty for the brand? So working on the brand is one thing, working on the cricket side is another, and just working out your annual balance sheet profit loss is the third thing. So that's year by year, whereas a brand requires continuity. Brand requires long-term vision that this is the product I have. I'm Delhi Daredevil. I'm MI whatever. I'm RCB. Now each of those franchises has a certain vision of what they want the brand to be. What is its characteristics? What is special about it? How is it different from some other team? So three things are playing out together: the cricket side, the brand side, and the profit and loss, which is year to year business.
So what would you say what you were most closely involved with out of these three things?
Well, I was with Delhi for what I think 6 years. So we are doing as the CEO, you're doing everything. You're part of all three. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So one side we knew very well. On the other two, we learned gradually. And I think initially not just me, every team made mistakes for the first 2 years. Then we quickly learned.
got it, got it. So you've written in your articles that early IPL teams often, underestimated how hard it is to turn fans into paying customers for their business model. So what would you say something that Delhi Daredevils did that clicked or did not click?
Well, while it is difficult, it's also easy because everybody wants to be associated with cricket. Now, if I'm a fan of a team, I'm supporting my team. I might, if I'm in Delhi, I might go watch a match, buy a ticket. I might buy merchandise. I might buy a team jersey. Now, the key for me as somebody managing Delhi is to keep connected with you through the year. See, the IPL is only 6 weeks, max 8 weeks.
Mm.
But I don't want to, let you go or, stop my connection with you for the rest of the 10 months. So I want to do activities or do some things which will keep me in touch with you for whatever purposes. So either I have a strong social media or a website where I can offer you something information, uh, more details about players, do contests. do events in your cities. So that is to enlarge the fan base, so my brand grows. Secondly, my brand is not forgotten after 2 months of IPL for the rest of the 10 months, and that it remains in your mind space. And whenever there's a commercial opportunity in that, I want to use it. So the key thing is to keep your business and your brand running in a vibrant manner for the rest of the 10 months. Because during the IPL, the connect is huge. Everybody's connected. You're watching, you're following, you know what is happening to the players. There's so much information and you are really related, connected. But the challenge is for the rest of the 10 months.
So, could you give an example of what the Delhi Daredevils did? Because as an IPL fan myself, I see how my favorite team is, keeping me connected through social media. But back then, there was no social media in
They said
2000.
initially the opportunities were less. Even there was practically no social media. So
Exactly.
you only had the website. And so you were trying to create what is called original content, which you put on the website, which you could access and get to know more. So teams at a practice session, teams in a team meeting, teams doing a gym session, teams going somewhere, holding a clinic, or some player talking about himself. So you kept creating content which you would otherwise not see or get. So I think the challenge at that time was only to create original content.
Okay. Okay. Now, I just want to ask you about present day. So now, as a columnist and an author, I wanted to ask you what's one myth about Indian cricket that you see that the media is, continuously repeating, but isn't really true?
Okay, good that you asked me this question. I think there are certain myths about Indian cricket uh, and certain other trends. I'll just pick two. One, this thing of cricket being a religion is a complete myth. Cricket is no religion, it's a sport. Let's not give it that elevated status of religion. Religion is much higher, much nobler, much bigger. So let's be clear, it's a sport. It's a very popular sport. That's it. So don't give the sport uh, that status, which I think is inappropriate. It's a very popular sport. People love it, people follow it, people enjoy it. That's it. Religion is different. Secondly, I think we have this strange feature in India compared to other cricket playing nations of what we call the superstar culture, where some players are bigger than life. They are sometimes bigger than cricket itself. So that is a trend which again I think is more minus than plus because we are fans of the cricketers, not of cricket. There's a distinction. Our loyalty, our identity, our bhakti is more towards an individual, more than cricket itself. So I think that's a peculiar Indian trend. And just as cricket is not a religion, we don't really value cricket as much as we value cricketers. So I think we have to be very clear that cricket अलग है, cricketer अलग है, player अलग है, and we relate more to a player than to the game.
Okay, this is something completely new that I've heard. Thank you for this. Also, I had not planned to ask you this question, but as you mentioned, I wanted to ask you about the 2004, I believe, the Pakistan tour, the first Pakistan tour. So, were you involved in that tour?
Yeah, I was on the tour.
You was on the tour. You were on the tour. So,
Yeah.
what's an incident? What were some of the challenges, if you would like to talk about it?
Well, I think there was great uncertainty before the tour whether it should happen or not because of the political situation, also because of security concerns. So the BCCI and the government of India decided to send a small team pre-tour to go check, to
Um,
find out, and to see conditions there. So I was part of that three-member delegation that went to Pakistan to assess the situation there, largely the security situation. Then when a lot of things happened, the tour got cleared, so I went back with the team. Now, the surprising thing was that while initially there were so many doubts and apprehensions about the tour turned out to be the most friendly, warm, welcoming, uh, happy tour ever for the Indian team, anywhere. Because we were received well, the people were fantastic in terms of how they responded to Indian team, and the Indian team did well. We won the one-day game, we won the test matches, so it was a successful tour from all angles. So I think that was a major tour and from every angle, very satisfactory.
That's great. So one last question. So many of the listeners and the students like me who want to get into the field of the sports business, what would be one advice you would give them on basically, how what skills you should have, what you should do?
Listen, if you're talking about the business of sport or business of cricket, uh, it is a large field and it is segmented. Now, there is the business of organizing a match, there is a business of sponsorship, there is a business of sports endorsements by individual cricketers, there is what is called event management, events, cricket events. So there are various things when you talk of business. So you at some stage have to understand what part of the sport business you want to be part of. Do you want to do events? Are you part of the sponsorship, athlete management, endorsements, something else? So you have to be clear what is your interest. But at the same time, you have to be a student of business in a way to understand how the economy is doing, how cricket can be connected to other things. So you have to have a larger understanding of the economics and the economic situation. At the same time, the different opportunities that cricket will present to you, and then decide. It's a very large field, so you have to focus your attention to something that is of more interest than the other thing.
Okay,
It
so
could be broadcast, it could be broadcast, it could be media also. I've mentioned other things. I forgot those. Broadcast, media, event management, athlete management, endorsements, sponsorships. There's so many things.
what about team management, sir? Because that's something I'm interested in.
See, that's not the business side. There's the cricket side. There's the technical side.
Okay, but any advice you'd have for the team management bit?
Uh, Listen, that's a normal administrative job. It doesn't require any special skill. If you're a good manager, you'll manage the team also. But you have to have a basic understanding of the team of cricket. That's like any, whatever field you go into, you must have domain knowledge. So you must have domain knowledge of cricket. But apart from that, it's basically a administrative part, technical, but largely administrative job. Because ultimately, when I'm CEO, I'm not interfering with the team. There's a cricket director, there's a cricket coach, there are the support staff who are all professional. They report into me, but they know their job professionally. They're different. I'm managing them. Hmm. So the technical side is left to experts, but then you have to handle the technical people, which is a managerial challenge.
Okay. Well, that's it from my side, sir. Thank you so much for
Thank
your
you very much. It was a pleasure talking to you. And I hope you have had a good podcast and people not curse you for wasting the time. And carry on if you're interested in cricket. My advice is keep reading. More information you have, the more knowledge you gain, that'll help you in whatever you want to do. So if you are fond of cricket, follow cricket properly. And not just follow the players. Don't just follow stats. Try and read about the business side, the technical side, how it's being done, how it's being organized. So ultimately, that information and information leading to knowledge will help you for anybody.
Okay. Thank you so much, sir.
Sure.
I learned a lot from here. And again,
You
thank
know,
you so much for your time.
pleasure talking to you.
Yes.
All the best.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah,
Bye bye.
bye.